Hi everybody. Today we have with us Mr. Debajyoti Das. Debajyoti sir is a very famous name when it comes to students over the years who have prepared for law entrance examinations. He graduated from HNLU Raipur in 2010. After that, he had a short stint with Amarchand Mangaldas, where he was for a period of 1.5 years. He later joined CLAT Possible as a CEO and as a very renowned faculty. In 2018, he has started his own coaching institute by the name of Legal Sapiens. And today we have the privilege of having him with us here at Law Spot. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving us your time and being here today.
Absolutely, most welcome, and I'm more than happy simply to be alive in these times right now.
I guess we all are, sir.
But it's also good that I get to speak with people and sort of, at least if there's any benefit by listening to somebody who has not as much achievements as you're trying to point out, but let's see. Hopefully, I'll have something worthwhile to say.
No, definitely, sir. We look forward to getting to know a little bit about your journey and about your views on
Sure.
things. So, first of all, sir, I'd like to begin with the most basic question that everybody is asked who sits for a law school interview. Why law? Why did you decide back in the year 2005 when there was no CLAT as such and it was not in vogue as it is now? Why was it that you decided to take up law as a career?
Well, there's two reasons primarily. First, I thought the entrance and the question paper that I saw, and you have to understand this is not, I can probably quote you 50 different philosophies now, but when you're just in 11th and 12th, there's about 2-3 things you look at. If this is okay, then it's all how you go forward from there on. So I think that time I really liked the question paper because it was very new, and that's true for I think even people who are aspirants right now. That's why legal classes, half the job is done by the syllabus itself. I don't have to make it that interesting actually. People give me a lot of undue credit for making classes interesting, but it's really not. It's because the subject itself are new to people. So that's something that I enjoyed also, and this legal reasoning is there, this, that, and like it's so new, it's so different. And I've always enjoyed language and logic, and my mom's contributed a lot to it. In two ways, actually, mom's contributed. One is she's of course encouraged me to do whatever I want, but also I've spent a lot of years arguing with her, polishing my skills at home. So it just ended up like this seems like I can do something about it because she was already head of the inquiry cell at Raipur Steel Plant. And so on. And if I'm still, she wouldn't concede, but I knew I was winning. So I'm like, why not make a career out of it? So yeah. And then I had met Sachin Malhan and a few other people from the first batch also of NLS. Some from my home city, where I was born and brought up, Raurkela.
Right.
There's Panda Bhaiya, who that time at least he was working with ITC. So he's from the first batch. So it all seemed like well-paying jobs also.
Yeah.
So what is it? I like the question paper. I think I can make money and I can make my mom's life a little more miserable than I'm successfully already doing. It seemed like a perfect combination of reasons. So that's what it was that time.
I guess most of us can relate to this mindset right now. For students who have given law entrance, this is I guess where all of us mostly come from. It's an exciting paper to do. How is law school? It was a phase when it was not a very popular concept, and still you were, as I read, doing a lot of moots and going across abroad for a lot of competitions. So in retrospect, how do you think that experience was? And specifically when it comes to moots, how do you think it helped in shaping your personality, and how much did it contribute to your personality?
Okay, so let me start by answering how is law school. In one line, I would say it's been an experience of a lifetime, and by extension, the moment you catch up with your friends, even from law school, so by default, there's a flurry of nostalgia that's going around. But even otherwise, sometimes you just sit and think, oh, those are the good times and stuff. You can think that about a lot of times, of course. And about a lot of people and about a lot of things, but law school will always have its own unique position, I think. Again, I'm not taking it away from any other college. I'm sure other colleges also have students saying the same thing. So I just have the same experience about it. Now, when it comes to moot courts in particular, surprisingly, I was not actually a public speaker before I went to law school, as in I had done one elocution competition, I think, in school, and with 3 people I finished third. Literally like stopped speaking in the middle of the presentation. My biology faculty had come over and he's like, "Theek hai beta, thank you." So from there to winning like Manfred Lax national rounds, going to Australia or going to Hong Kong and this and that. It's been quite a journey, and I would give a lot of credit to my seniors from law school actually, particularly Parth Bhaiya, Devanshu Bhaiya, and Adarsh Bhaiya. So that's Parth and Adarsh are actually from the first batch. So that's 4 batches senior to me. I was the 5th batch.
Right.
Devanshu has 1 batch junior to him, and over the years then I've made very very close friends who've done mooting with me, like Avni and Pallav, and this. So it's been a lot of people actually helping me out, and above all, like I can't believe why, but they already had so much belief that I can do it, that I was like, even if I don't think I can, I owe it to their own academic excellence to start believing in myself. So why don't I just give it as much of a shot? Like I knew, I don't think I once also I thought that I can speak publicly, but if Parth, Adarsh, and Devanshu are convinced, there's very little else you can argue from there on. They're like extremely smart people who are definitely smarter than me. All of them have gone on to Oxford, Harvard, and are working as top level partners in law firms and so on. So yeah, I think most of the credit goes to seniors. Now, how does it help in your personality? I think it clarifies what people already know. As in, of course, on day one, or even when you're a law aspirant, you're anyway going to be told that logic is very important, that logical clarity is important, thinking is important. But it's only, I think, in a law school experience, the moment you participate in a top level moot court competition, at least, and I'm not saying all moot courts, I think that distinction is something that current law students should start making, because there's so many more competitions right now. You don't actually go head to head with really good students unless you go to good competitions. Again, not discrediting participation in lesser ones. I'm just saying.
Right.
But if you go to the best ones, then the obligation of how to think logically, how to present that argument logically, make sure it makes sense to associates and partners of law firms who've come to judge you, and judges of High Court and Supreme Court are even judging in the final rounds and so on. So if you're not actually logical, you will see it happen right in front of you. Your worst nightmares are going to unfold right there, and you're going to realize I'm not as logical as I thought, or at least my argument is not.
Right.
So it gives you that sense of confidence कि अब the Supreme Court judge के सामने third year में argue कर ही लिया है, तो anyway, okay, maybe he was correct. So it's
right.
but you will have to be, of course, prepared, and that sense of being prepared and wanting to be prepared and all of that, I think, is skills that are inculcated much faster if you're participating in moot courts. But you can translate it and use it for research paper writing also, but again, you have to make sure that you're writing it for a top level journal.
Right.
And then again, because then peer-to-peer review happens, this happens, that happens, and then otherwise they publish to ho hi sakta hai. In the world of internet, I think published to ho hi jayega matlab. But for top level wali feel jab tak nahi aati na, tab tak you don't get logical clarity or understanding of your limitations of logical clarity at least.
Right.
So that's what I think. Yeah.
I guess these are the few factors that contributed towards you joining one of the most renowned law firms right after your law school. So what was that process like? You applied on your own, and like how did you get into a law firm at that time?
So here again, I think there's a lot of if you've not already gotten through the pre-placement positions and so on and so forth. So I had already done an internship and I had a very good score on the Amarchand evaluation that they do during the course of the internship.
Okay.
But from my college, so I had not gotten a PPO like then and there, right? Because I had done a late internship and their PPO structures was already closed for that year. And here I think is again where alumni network can play a big factor, because one of my seniors just told me that there is a vacancy in the capital markets team. So if you're still open to doing it, then why don't you apply? So, and of course, she was kind enough to explain to me what capital market specifically is, and not like sit and prep me for the interview, but at least give me the broad strokes of what I might need to speak about. So I knew what capital market lawyer does. I knew there's a vacancy. I know who's going to be the partner, so I can take my time off to read about that particular partner and whoever else is taking my interview. So, and once you have all of those things, and you still need a rank, of course, in your own college. So I think it would have still been very difficult if I was like rank 40 out of 50.
Right.
But as long as you have a decent rank and a decent score in 10th and 12th also, this is for anyone who might be interested in a top level law firm. At least when I got recruited, Amarchand already had a base requirement of, I think, 80% or 75% in both 10th and 12th, which may not sound very difficult to anybody who's already in the top 10 ranks in law school, but sometimes some unfortunate scenarios. So to be prepared for it, take your board exams also seriously. Somebody who's in 10th and 11th or still has the 12th board to go. Don't neglect it. It's not like the top corporates. Nobody says your board marks are reflective of anything. It just reflects on your sincerity, is what everybody else will tell you. So if you're not sincere, you're just not cut out for the corporate world. How do you expect a partner to believe you can work till 4 in the morning and come back at 8 in the morning again if you couldn't even study hard enough for your 12 boards? Right? So it's yeah. So that's the kind of mindset. It's not relevant. Of course, I had a science and chemistry, organic chemistry. मुझे याद था कि नहीं था. Has absolutely nothing to do with capital markets, but they're going to take it into account because it reflects sincerity. So be prepared for your interviews for sure. Know who might interview you. It's not going to happen in a normal college structure. Also, it happens. The partner's already on campus, so you know who's visiting. So read about that partner. What are the areas he specializes or she specializes in? Be prepared about what area you want to work in. Have clear answers. Again, skills that you can acquire from moot courts and writing articles and so on. Right.
That's a wonderful tip, sir. But I'd like to know then, how did this shift happen? Like from being in one of the most renowned law firms to go into teaching. Teaching is something that not a lot of law school students pursue as a career option. So how did that shift happen at that point of time, and what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, so for me, the transition was actually due to far more, what's the right word? I'm not sure, but far more base or greed-based reasons rather than anything else. So it's not that Amarchand was not paying me well. Of course, they would be paying me well, but what happened is the people at CLAT Possible decided that they want to pay me a lot more. Then so to be honest, they'd actually given me. I mean, I'm not going into the numbers, but it was a 50% hike on my the then pay scale, and I've not regretted that decision except for missing out on nostalgia reasons. Like sometimes I miss being at Amarchand just because I miss being at Amarchand, but it's not something I would miss fundamentally because the increments also continued. Now I don't know if it's going to be true or should be true for or maybe true for everyone, because I mean, at least my previous organization was quite generous in terms of loosening their purse strings for me. Now a lot of people might tell you that they don't have the same feedback about others. But I never faced that problem. So personally, I have no regrets about moving on from Amarchand. And if I ever were to go back to law firms, Amarchand will be my, now of course it is Cyril Amarchand, because I used to work in the Hyderabad Bombay office.
Right.
So now of course they've partitioned, as you might know, from Sam Cam ho gaya. So Cyril Amarchand is that's where I would go back to, I think, if I ever go back to that route.
There was also a brief stint. I'm sorry. Yeah, I remember when I was.
No problem.
There was a brief stint where you were interested in politics and you were pursuing. Is that still happening?
I still am. Absolutely, I still am. I mean, my political lineage. I'm saying, sorry, my political opinion is definitely all open to everyone. I have a page on Facebook. As in, I have my account, of course, but also there is a page which has about more than 25,000 followers now. I've been quite lazy in terms of uploading videos over the last few months, especially after I started up the company. Not due to any other reason, but just being caught up a lot more, and I think just got distracted a lot more also. But I'm definitely. I think that's just, it's because I think that's the only real way you can actually affect or change. Yeah, affect the system, affect any change. You want to help people. Yeah, I mean, poor people, extremely poor people can't really help people. It's just, how do I feed someone if I don't have food on my table?
Definitely.
It's the same logic as to why air hostesses always tell you put on the air mask on yourself before you help
Before.
others. Yeah, so maybe somewhere down the line, people lose track of the fact that they got into it to help others and then just focus on maximizing them. But I hope I don't lose track, and if I do become someone worth noting, then I'll try to make sure I remember why I got into it in the first place.
Well, I really hope that you do. That
I
is the
hope so
hope that
too.
we have. But
I
as
hope so too.
somebody who has taken up a lot of unconventional career choices after law school, what would be your suggestion to people who necessarily don't want to get into litigation or corporate law, like not want to pursue core law as a career, but try to do something else after law school? What do you think is the scope for them? What options do they have?
So actually, there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of things. I know people again, civil services itself is a mainstream area. So I'm not going to say you can become a judge or a civil servant. You can, of
Right.
course, do that.
Right.
And you can join litigation, and you can join a corporate firm, and you can join a corporate per se. You can also, I know for a fact, for instance, that people have quit all of it and tried to run their own startups. There's someone I know who tried to start up a cheap mobile phone company, and she's doing decently. I don't know what he's up to now. There's a senior of mine from law school called Shashank Bijapur who runs this company called Spot Draft, which is a merger of law and technology. So it's
Right.
mostly AI driven contracts, and they're trying to replace what corporate laws. No, of course, in between he's worked at Talwar Thakur and then White and Case at New York and done his Harvard masters, and then come. But he's not doing. He's not a corporate lawyer per se. If you look at what he focuses on and what he specializes on, so it's
Right.
not. It's a slightly off road, but it's still law related areas. Now I know also people who've quit all of it and started restaurants, like the very famous restaurant in London called Mooley's. Is
Right.
actually by a former Rhodes scholar. I'm forgetting his name. He's from also from NLS. Which batch I'm forgetting. But anyway, so he used to
Yeah.
play online poker, did his Oxford masters, God knows why, in law, and then started up a restaurant in London. And there are people who've joined music. So I think the law school journey, like any good college experience, should actually help you deciding what you want to do. Now, for
Right.
some people, the answer could be as simple as I want to make money. Like somebody asked Lakshmi Nivas Mittal, what is your love story with steel? He said, I don't actually love steel. I just love that I can use steel to make money. So my love is with money. Right? And similar answers you'll get from Warren Buffett. So I think sometimes it's also overrated how people keep on insisting you must love what you do. No, what you do is wanting to make money is love enough sometimes. If you're clear on what you need to do to be able to do what you want to do, what I want to do is travel to Europe, let's say, as an example. So all I need to do is figure out how to get the money to do it, no? Or get a, I don't know, travel blog job to be able to do it. So you'll find out a way once you're clear on what you do. So that 5 years, I think, is a discovery journey about yourself. Also, while you're writing your papers and participating in your moods, making friends, dating, going out, I don't know, drinking alcohol wherever it's not prohibited. So while you do that, try to discover yourself also, and you'll figure out if you're focused enough, you'll figure out what is it that you really want to
I'm
do.
pretty sure a lot of people must be having that breath of relief right now that you don't necessarily need to love your job
You
and you
don't
don't need to be in love with your
really,
that's a
you
big
really don't. There was when I was, I'll tell you, when I was at Amarchand also, there's so many people who just I wouldn't say a lot of, like, majority of people, but there's definitely a clear group of minority you could see who would be visibly upset about the fact that it's so overworked and there's exploitation happening. God knows this is so unfair, right and wrong. It's just free market economy and free market economics.
right.
Don't like, leave. So why would you reach there with all the confusion? So don't look at the corporate law, when you sign on the dotted line, if the only thing you can see in that whole agreement is the
It's
monthly
nice.
payout, then you'll reach there and you'll find out suddenly कि वो suits में Mycross goes to the library and wakes up in the morning, and you already figure out the answer. What they don't show in the TV show is that he's stuck in the library all night. Those
Right.
are long hours that you have
Definitely.
to, so be a grown up about it. And
Right.
if you don't like it, leave. right? But if you're going to stick around because you know why you're there. And the truth is you're there because Amarchand pays you well, right? So don't be confused about it. It's not a bad thing. You worked hard, you're in a position and you're working. So it's not a bad deal. Why do you work? I have to like capital markets. Really, you don't have to like loan agreements. It's okay. The end result's nice enough sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
personally relatable for me, and I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Coming
Yeah.
to CLAT as
Yeah.
an exam. So my question to you would be, do you see a difference in the way people have started approaching? Because I have had a phase where I just heard people saying कि CLAT कर रहे हैं क्योंकि maths नहीं आती, CLAT कर रहे हैं क्योंकि engineering नहीं करनी, medical नहीं करना. Now, over the period of time, do you think there has been a change in psyche, how people are viewing this as a career option?
So I think even during my time, uh, there was a huge percentage of people who would opt for law because they thought IIT is more difficult.
Definitely.
Uh, but the truth is, if you look at, for example, I had qualified the NLS Bangalore exam also in 2006,
Right.
and gone there for a week or so. So if you look at my batch in NLS Bangalore, there were about 5 people who had also qualified IIT, but were at NLS,
Right.
right? And it's mathematically verifiable that nobody who got through NLS went to IIT because there were about 58, 60 people on the first list, and all of them were there. So nobody
Right.
quit NLS to go to IIT, but a lot of people now. This is not to say that between IIT and NLS one should prefer NLS. This is simply to say that both are extremely competitive places. Right. So simply, if you don't like maths, it will just not be enough for you to actually reach NLS. It's
Right.
a good starting point, maybe. ठीक है, ये नहीं करना, ये नहीं करना, ये नहीं करना, right? But क्या करना है ही नहीं पता, तो वहाँ पे it will become complicated. Which is why it's a journey to discover yourself should actually start as early as possible. No, you don't like maths, you can become a singer also, right? If you don't like science, you can be a cricketer or a model. So you don't like X doesn't necessarily lead to Y. There's also A and B and C and D, right? So there must be something that you should be clear on, that I also like this. Like, okay, the reason why I started to even discover this person or this subject or this college or whatever is because a problem, right?
Right.
So you had a breakup, you don't start rebounding on the first person you meet after that, right? So you have a breakup, you go meet other people, discover, and then move on and then do something, right? Don't like this person, date the first person I see after that. Not the right logic. Doesn't work like that. That's other relationships are going to be equally problematic from there on,
Right.
right? So don't like maths, sure, break up with maths, not a problem, right? But don't make law your rebound decision. It should just be something more well thought out than that.
Talking about NLS and all, how much do you think the brand matters? Because there's a dilemma when it comes to students who have to choose
Yeah.
between, say, a new law school, new national law school, after, say, the top 5, top 7,
Yeah.
and a private college, a private law school that is in a tier 1 city. That is, say, in Delhi, that is in, a tier 1 city. There is always a dilemma as to where to go. So how much do you think that the national law school, national law university tag matters down the line? And
I think I think the tag itself is of very little consequence. But what is important is the alumni network. So
right.
if you so NLS is not NLS because of the name, or it's just that they already have so many batches of people. You go to any top law firm, you'll have half a dozen equity partners who are from that college. And
Right.
the same will continue from the equity partners to salaried partners to principal associates to senior associates to even junior associates, right? So the first time you go to intern and you're from NLS and you're in the third year or fourth year, you enter into that office, you've already said hi to 3 people, hi five other people, and that out of those 2 people would have been your drinking buddies in college, and
Right.
they would have already introduced you to their senior associates and then partner, and by lunch you're already talking to the equity partner of the law firm about whether Elizabeth ma'am is still teaching history and the canteen food is still as sucky as it was. On the other hand, somebody who doesn't have even remotely the comparable alumni network is sitting and wondering who that person should go and introduce themselves to.
Yeah.
So if somebody like me from HNLU, when I was interning in 2008, 8 or 9 in Amarchand, I would of course have to go and tell my name is Debajyoti and do you have any work, sir? Hi, hello, ma'am. Is there anything I can assist you with? Blah blah. But somebody from I mean NLS wouldn't really have that problem. So it's the
Right.
same analysis that you can transpose and apply to whenever you're comparing like a private college with. So somebody like Symbiosis, somebody from Symbiosis Pune, even though like some of his seniors may not have reached Amarchand directly after law school, may have taken 2 years off and then reached Amarchand or whatever, but they would be there. That they
Right.
would be there. There will be people from Sindhi because it's an old college and it's been so many batches. So even if they've taken their sweet time, it doesn't matter to you because you still have your alumni in the right place. So I think age is the biggest factor. After that, if there's a small thing between two completely unknown colleges, then sometimes what happens is, of course, NLU is something people trust a little more than any other college. But
Right.
alumni is rank one in when you're choosing.
No, that's definitely a way to look at it. Uh, to
Yeah,
my point, sir, right now students are in a catch-22 situation. They do not know what to
correct.
do. They have not had their board exams. They have not had
Yes.
CLAT. They have not had their entrance exams that they've been preparing and have invested a lot of time into. What would be
Hmm.
your advice to them? What should they be focusing on right now? How should they be utilizing this time? What would be your advice?
Well, I just recently, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, or over the last, I read it today. There's this long series of 8 tweets by Dr. Subramaniam Swami, who, I mean, unlike other identities that he has and so on and so forth, he's also the youngest PhD holder from Harvard University in the history of their university in economics. So, a very well read person, also, among other things. So the tweet was basically focused on about Lord Indra and rain and how a village was cursed by gods that there's going to be no rain, and then matter went to Lord Shiva, and jab tak Lord Shiva damru nahi bajayenge tab tak it's not going to rain. So one of the farmers in the village, because Lord Shiva said I'm not going to do it for 12 years, so there's going to be no rain. One of the farmers anyway decided to start digging and sowing seeds and this and that. So the other villagers made fun of him, and this farmer kept on saying, no, no, I am doing this because in 12 years, if I don't do this even once or twice or 5 times, I'll forget how to do it. So when rain finally comes, I would have probably have no idea how to do agriculture in the first place. Right. So in the Lord Parvati felt very strongly about it. She said, 12 saal mein ho sakta hai, you will forget how to play the damru to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva said, how will I forget? It's not going to happen. And he played the damru and rain happened. Right.
Oh,
Moral of the story that Dr. Swami had tweeted. Moral of the story is tell you this is a good time, to focus on all the skills that you were distracted from, unable to be focused on at other times. Now, as a student, I think this is that's the entire population of students has the biggest advantage competitively if you compare it with any other category of people. So as somebody who runs a business right now, I have 1,000 challenges to take care of. Somebody who's playing sports is probably finding it difficult. Okay? Maybe even chess players are finding it difficult because at least it's not on the board. There, yes, they can practice on the computer, but it's not all the grandmaster tournaments. Also, including the world championship, probably is unlikely. The Olympics have been cancelled. So whether it's a movie industry is suffering, but if you're a student, you can still sit in home and study. So while all the other professions in the world, all the other professionals are going to struggle, students, I think, is the entire community. As long as they're focused enough, they can still specialize on everything. You have want to write a novel, feel free to do that. You have your books. All books are available online. Yes, the only thing that's probably affecting even students is that the lectures are
right.
not as much. Yeah, but the dirty little secret is everybody knows classes कितना sincerely कौन attend करते थे. कुछ ही teachers पसंद थे, उनकी class तो जाते ही थे. ऐसा बता दे रहे हैं students को, it's just false. I've been to law school. I have friends who've gone to all sorts of colleges. The truth is, lectures is not something which should really be that much of a hindrance. 99%, I think, of your entire education will be from your peers, your
Right.
seniors, and your own pursuit of academics. Not went to class and वो भी physically online class तो चल ही रही है. उसमें भी नहीं जब तक physical class उसी में बस पढ़ाई अगर छूट जा रही है, then you're lying to yourself. So if you're a student, this is a really good time. All other professionals are struggling. You shouldn't. You should make the most of this time, at least to polish up all the basics of all the subjects, and especially law students. So easily you can do the brush up of all the basics. So yeah, you're not able to participate in a moot court competition. I understand. You still write a paper. You still have seniors on a call and I don't know, a Zoom meeting away. If you really wanted to, you're just a Zoom meeting away from me. Also, anybody who wants to reach out to me has an academic question, open offer to anyone. I'm freely available. My phone number is freely available on Facebook. Do reach out. Make the most of this time, because all the teachers are also literally stuck at their homes doing nothing right now. So I'm playing PUBG. I'm playing chess. I'm started playing this new game called Dominations on it's a Rise of Nations type game. Yeah, but anyways, you get the idea. As a student, it's a good time actually to exams have been postponed. So yeah, laugh about it, enjoy it, but also read. That's going to help you when the rain finally comes. You've not lost practice on how to do agriculture. So that's why.
I guess there couldn't be a better ending than this. To all our viewers out there, please feel free to contact Debajyoti sir. He's always a Zoom meeting away.
Absolutely.
Calls.
Yes.
So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving us your time and being with us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Please stay safe. Please follow basics of lockdown. Although now I don't know how much people are following, but whatever you can, you need to ensure your own safety. Put on the air mask on yourself first before the raid. Pretty air hostesses tell you. If you believe them, then believe me also. Just because I have a beard doesn't mean I'm wrong. So thank you so much for having me. Have a very good night yourself also.
Thank you, sir.